I wore it, it was just never hard. So explain that it won't get hard. It'll harden and it will tighten a little bit from what you put on, but it won't harden. Two things with Una boots. They can be pretty strangulating, so you need to do one of two things to allow for swelling. Either every other wrap, put a fold in front of the tibia, or fishtail it with a figure 8. If you had a wound, or I was trying to compress you for venous stasis, I'd put a fold. If you have posterior tibial tendon dysfunction or a fracture or something I want to put you in a soft cast for, I will figure 8 it, because I think there are kind of different levels of swelling and what you need to use them for. That's just my personal preference. You can do whatever you're comfortable with. The last couple of things I've done is I was trying to calm down a Charcot before I put him in a total contact cast to close his wound, both of which happened. I created the wound on the toe, but that closed eventually too. But I put him in a soft cast first. For 3 weeks in a camel walker to get the swelling down to calm the Charcot. When he came back in, the leg wasn't as red hot or swollen. I scared the life out of him. Like, I showed him pictures, this could break down. He was like, oh my god, I don't think he walked for a week. I've never seen a cam walker that looked so clean. It looked like he took it off my shelf and put it on in the room. So, I don't know, maybe that was overboard, but I'm new, I'm scared, and I give everybody gloom and doom. Then I figure if they do well, they're happy. So, the thing I did with him was, he had, most of his deformity was cuboid, and that's where his ulcer was. So I still did what I did to you with an offloading pad with the ulceration, and kind of treated it as a total contact kind of soft cast to calm the Charcot down before I put the thing on. Posterior tibial tendon dysfunction, I put a kidney pad in the arch. Dr. Laporta taught me that. You cut out a pad like kidney shape, and you put the part of the kidney that goes in under like the navicular and medial mal area, and then the part that's, I guess, concave goes under the foot, under the arch. And then also he uses a J pad for a lateral ankle sprain. If you're putting a soft cast on, just makes a pad out of this foam that looks like the letter J. The top of the J comes right kind of where the ATFL ends, and it goes around the fibula and comes up behind and to hold the perineal tendons in if they're subluxing or if they have perineal tendon pain. So those are two modifications you can make. Be clever, do whatever you want. If you're having a fifth metatarsal fracture and you're doing a soft cast in a surgical shoe, maybe you want to do something to offload the shoe so that the fifth met's not hitting the ground. You know, kind of, everything's a little bit different. But for the most part, we'll, you know, kind of play with this generic construct. Same thing, 3 rolls around the toes and around the top. The Una boot can cut you just like, not as bad as fiberglass, but in the same manner. And when you roll the stockinette over, you want to have web roll over your Una boot. So these people, very often, after I wrap the foot, I end up doing something like this. Or I put my white coat over and put them on here to kind of dorsiflex them. Because when they're holding it up themselves, I'm telling you, the toes are flailing, they're inverting, and you're going to put the soft cast on that way, and they're committed to it for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll do the foot first. I go right over the toes, just about to the end, because it'll fold back. And then that way, a lot of soft casts I see, not yours, just soft casts in general, the med heads are exposed, and the soft cast is back here on the foot. So you want to make sure that they are covered. I would have made this nicer, I'm sorry.
Did you cut out at the ankle ever? Like this?
I did on this.
Okay.
On the total contact. Depending on what I'm doing. And if I think the person will be picky. We talked before about this web roll. It shouldn't look like this because he has an hourglass leg. You shouldn't be wrapping web roll that looks like this, ever. It rips. So you can conform it to the leg. Just rip it. Exit, rip it, go up. It should never just be rolled on kind of mindlessly, like a cylinder, when your leg is not shaped like a cylinder. So that's my first layer, is padding. Let me get, I have a new boot in my purse. I don't usually carry them in my purse.
Yeah, we're doing it over now.
You took it out of it. So
Yeah, it was food.
No.
She had them in Texas last year. She was
We probably could have used them in Texas last year.
her purse.
It's a
Good interview
conversation
question.
starter.
Like any other addiction.
What's in my
She's gonna hand you a new boot and tell you to construct a soft cast in the
Alright.
It's a good
So,
question, and if you-
I'm not going to
what
put
does
your
David-
on my leg because I don't have like a sheet or something to throw over me. But that's what I would do. I would get one of those foot towels, put it on my leg, and just put your leg right on my thigh. Because again, you're the new associate. You're doing this alone. You could be in the floor on the
But now you have
ground bleeding and no one's coming in. So
Alex wants that.
okay, make sure you got the metatarsal heads.
So you'd complete the foot, and then you'd have him rest his leg on you.
Yep. I'm coming up the arch when I'm rolling. Okay, and then you would put your leg on me, but you're going to be good and dorsiflex for me. Now, this is where you could do one of two things. This is where your swelling comes in. Every other roll, you could pop a fold in the front.
Every other roll?
Uh-huh. Like this. Or fishtail. So it goes up across the back, down across the front. Up across the back, down across the front.
Mhm.
I think it looks neat. Just make sure everything's kind of nice and tight in. And I would have had this on my leg the whole time. Your knee would have been bent. Just like this. Trying to do it, okay? So they're on your big chair. It looks like a dead end. You know, their feet are down. Have them turn, dangle their legs, put the chair up in the air to where you need to reach it. Now my next thing, I didn't bring any, but I would use 2 rolls of cling. Why? For no other reason than this is gross and it will come through onto your Coban or your Ace. If I was using this to compress you, to get your Charcot down, to get your swelling down, I would use Coban and I would pull it taut. If I'm using it as a soft cast construct, I'm going to use an Ace bandage and pull it taut. So pretend there's cling on here to absorb this grossness.
We have curlets for the sake of time.
Do you? Yeah, for the sake of time and
For the sake of your back.
okay. My med heads are covered. There's my 5th toe. What are your 5th toe? And this is the part everybody's looking at. So wrap it nice. Start over the big toe, come up the arch. Overlap by 50%, pull with 50% tension. Nihar's very impressed with my things. He keeps going, So if you're in the office with Dr. Laporta and he says put them in a soft cast, this is what he wants. If you're in the office with Dr. O'Donnell and she says put them in a soft cast, this is what she wants. Ask her, Coban or Ace, she changes her mind based on the day. Sometimes she goes through a phase where everybody's Coban.